We compare One Direction to hard drugs in this podcast the whole time.
Imagine Niall Horn crawling in your ear. You tell him to stop, but he is in there.
If there is a reunion that happens, I will take my own head off.
I feel like
it's not going to be stopped.
Listen to a sermon. Ever?
Okay, you know what the truth is? The truth is...
Fangirl Central. Okay, everyone, we're back with part 2.
We are back with part 2 of more of One Direction for you directly served to you from Fangirl Central. One Direction is something that's kind of interesting for us to talk about because it is something that it is so deeply connected to me and Amanda and our sisterhood, but also to Fangirl Central as it is the very first project, or the topic of the very first project we ever did together as sisters.
Technically, very first 2 projects.
Exactly.
Because it was the short
3
and the live show.
I mean, yeah. I was counting the premiere of the short that we had with Family and Friends to be another one, but whatever. But it's the same thing.
We made this short film because this day was one of the most unique days we have ever had in our lives as sisters, as fangirls, as One Direction fans. Like, it was not only the first time we ever saw them live, there were 4 other boys with them, and it was like double the trouble. And also, we were so like this on what like we felt about it. Like, so basically, I got into Rock Me, and I didn't even finish my story. I got into Rock Me. And it made me feel so crazy and sexual that I slowly started letting Amber play the entire album. And when I say that we played that album on shuffle, on repeat, every single day in the morning to school, in the afternoon from school, every time we were in the car together, we would only listen to Take Me Home, the deluxe editions, over and over and over and over for 6 months in a row, from January to June. From January all the way up to our concert date. Concert, we only listened to One Direction.
Because the thing is, and I think this is kind of crucial to mention, the thing is, our mom bought us tickets to this concert in March of 2012 when I said, hey, I've been watching these Video Diary boys, but I don't care about them.
You mean March of 2011? No, 12. Oh my God.
She saw that they were on sale and was like, oh, would you want to go to the concert? I saw that some tickets were going on sale, because I feel like her eye was just always out. And I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a topic at school. Like, yeah, I'll go. So I just bought them for insurance of like school politics. And then by the time it was time, a lot happened within those months. It was that's more than a year away, because they dropped those tickets more than a year away because their marketing team was moving that way.
Yeah.
You have to think about this. And so by the time we had gotten to the concert, it was me becoming incredibly obsessed with him, me getting Amanda the correct amount of obsessed with him that I needed from her, and us only listening to these songs because we were like, I remember there was after you played, you got obsessed with Rock Me, I was like, and guess what I realized? We have tickets to this concert. And you were like, oh my God, we do. And like, I was like, yeah, we have tickets to this concert. And because I had already had my moment of like pausing and being like, wait a second, don't I have tickets to this concert coming up? And I was like, I'm gonna meet them there. And all of these stories just became mine because I'm gonna meet them there. All of these stories that the update accounts are releasing, I'm also gonna do that.
I did not think it was real until we were driving to Nashville at 6 a.m. for a concert that didn't start until 7.
Yes.
I was like, okay, so I think
we don't know how early those boys wake up.
You went over the plan to me earlier that week, and I wasn't really hitting that we were going to be going there. Okay, like, let's get there at 9 a.m.
I was like, you have to understand the chances that we must take. Like, we have to have all of the opportunities. We have to be there from day to night. They might be out in the city. We don't know where we could meet them. They could be at a coffee shop early in the morning. They could be at the gym.
last year on tour, so we're gonna stay at Sheraton this year on tour. And then we heard, no, One Direction's not staying there, and nobody knows where they're staying. 5 Seconds of Summer's gonna be checking into here today, but we were like, or they're staying here. They stayed here last night, and we were like, well, we're gonna be checking in today, but we can't check in yet.
That was some great. That was the what's the second from gold, bronze or silver?
Silver.
That was the silver to our goal because we had also just become very intrigued by those boys. We were like, they're cute and they're fun, and also they have 2 songs that we really like. And then we can talk about how I got into their like different EPs after this summer.
We did listen to the 2 songs that like
Try Hard
and Heartbreak Girl
over
and over because the rest of their songs I don't think were on iTunes. They were all like you had to download them.
And these were the music videos, and I think that's like as far as we went at this point, and their keeks.
Right.
And so we were like,
let's take our chances. Let's post up here while we listen for new information collected. And that's exactly what we did.
And as
soon as we heard, Amber was monitoring, and I was like kind of like looking at the girls that were there. I was like, what are the girls doing? Because if the girls are going to be running, I'm going to be saying what is going on.
Right. And it's also just kind of like, what are the vibes? Like, do they seem antsy? Does it seem like somebody just got some info that's they're trying to keep a secret and that's going to get around anyway because we're girls?
Oh, my God. Guys, it was so crazy.
It was so intense. Like, it was spy work. Like, it was a mission.
All leading up to like literally actually seeing them that night. Like, because even though we hadn't seen them on the street, we did see them on the stage, on the floor, right above us.
And they saw us, and we know that. We know it. I saw them look at us. I did.
Yeah, I saw all 5 of them look at us different times.
When they were flying above the crowd.
They're flying above the crowd. I was like, I don't know what's going to go on if they keep looking at me like that.
Right. I was like, and now it's done. I was like, and I finally see them, and they see me, and I've reached a goal. Like, I was like, you know what? All I wanted to know, and I just wanted to have proof that we existed in the same same plane of life and Earth. Like, I was like, I just want to like make our universes cross once.
I don't think that people who don't
and it did.
know either like what it's like to like a boy band, but like yes, okay, it's a boy band, but like One Direction was different. One Direction was different because of a lot of different factors, because of technology.
Yeah, I think it was almost like it became a thing where your hysteria became a type of currency amongst other fans, where it was like, you're not more hysterical than me, so prove it, and that became that. Like, that's why I'm saying when One Direction was like an entire like neighborhood, it was like a universe. It was a community. Like, they had their problems, and they had their gossip, and they have their rules.
You don't think it's like that
in their government?
But I feel like that's like that in all fandoms.
I agree. I agree with that.
That's not what I was saying. One Direction specifically, like it's really, really powerful. Like, if you meet a One Direction fan now, who's still like, yeah, I'm a One Direction fan, it's a little insane.
I think.
Is it?
Well, what do you mean? Like, were you there when, were you that intense? Like, and it's like, yeah, I was. Do you mean that?
I just don't know. Maybe I just don't know them, but I don't know. When people are talking about the Beatles and like how their fans were, I feel like there wasn't really something like that since the Beatles when One Direction came, like actually genuinely. And then now, of course, we've got BTS, and I think that there hadn't been anything like One Direction since BTS.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what is that? It's like genuinely like so like the hormones. Like, I want to understand.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of clips of like girls screaming at Elvis and the Beatles, like screaming hysterically the same way that I've seen people scream at One Direction at morning talk shows. Girls hysterically screaming at them at morning talk shows. I'm talking about girls screaming at Dylan O'Brien at the mic, crying at him at the mic.
Yeah.
Immediately at the mic at conventions. At conventions. That are kind of set up like press conferences. I don't know. I think that because do you mean like what is the science behind what is it about this group or essence that makes this so acceptable and like understandable to a group of people this big.
Because there's a reason that One Direction was more successful than like The Wanted, or like they were more successful than like Big Time Rush. I mean, Big Time Rush was, I think clearly is because Big Time Rush, they were both like manufactured, but Big Time Rush was fictional, so the chemistry of the characters was manufactured, versus One Direction, the chemistry was not manufactured. Maybe it's just chemistry.
Yes, but I'm thinking about the hysteria part, because a lot of people can have great chemistry and doesn't cause hysterical fans. I'm like
who doesn't have good chemistry and has hysterical fans?
Well, I'm thinking, I just thought of New Girl off the top of my head, but that's a TV show.
But again, like TV shows are different than bands, because like people don't throw themselves at the ground to see the New Girl cast.
I mean, I think we kind of touched on it in the last episode. I think it was just like a mixture of like, they are really cool and like unattainable, but they're so relatable that you think all you need to know is meet them once and they'll get you too. And that's like literally every idol and pop star. That's Elvis, like that's the Beatles,
Spears.
That's Britney Spears. They're like, it's like people are like, but she's just like me, but she's so much cooler. So it's kind of like we could definitely exist together. Just see me and we could be yin and yang and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, the parasocial,
because they're all,
like the ability to like have like a positive parasocial.
Yeah, the ability to even have a parasocial relationship. Because if you don't have one, then you can just leave it at the TV box. You can just be like, yeah, that was a great movie. I don't know about that. Like, and then when you see them out at dinner, you're like, hey, that's that guy.
Okay, but how about this? I have gotten, I like don't care about what my like the people that I like are up to in their lives. Like, I'm not parasocial with them like that anymore. But if I went to a One Direction reunion, I would throw myself on the ground. It's just like accessing that part, you know, like what about it like activates that in me?
I think at this point, it was just the moment. It was the moment.
You just had to be there.
And you had to be there. It's like, so if there is a reunion that happens, and I'm just telling y'all, it's all bets are off. Like I will take my own head off. I will screw it off and back on, because I don't care what you think of me. If One Direction ever comes back, if all five of these boys, all five of these grown men, 3 with a child, and 2, you know, living, and you know, if they all come back, and I can't see anything around them, and all I know and see is the boys, pardon me, on the stairs, back together in the age that I am and they are, after imagining where they would be in 10 years, back in 2013, and now it is going to be definitely like 10 years or more, it's definitely going to be that if they ever come back. It's like witnessing, it's not deja vu, but it's like witnessing a prophecy before your eyes that you heard but didn't think would ever happen.
Would come to pass.
You heard it, you respected it, but you didn't. And so if that ever happens, I'm just saying I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
If you ask me what it's like to be there, what it was like to be there, I can only say that a picture of one of them could bring me to my knees. My knees would just like kind of immediately buckle. And I would say, like, if Amber showed me something like she's holding up right now, a picture of Louis.
That we haven't seen in years, but was definitely, like, hanging in one of our rooms.
If she came up to me and showed me that, I would yank it out of her hands and start to run, or maybe silently turn into circles, and I would begin to sweat. Like, can you just bear with me here, because we went to an all-girls school for most of our lives, like
Yeah,
kindergarten through 12th grade for me, pre-K through 12th grade for Amber, and we're 2 years apart.
Right, you have to understand the environment where we were able to even be this obsessed with a boy band, because this was an all-girls school and
We didn't have any boys at school.
there were no boys at school. A lot of girls were like knew that they were cute but weren't like that. You know, they had all the other interests as well and things like that, but like this was just kind of like a
Well, other people.
let's just go to class.
Other
and mind
people.
our business.
Also, there was other people in our grade that knew boys in real life, so they didn't need really a self-insert boy band for that. Like, we didn't date.
They were more social.
We didn't have like guy friends, and the guy friends that I like was peripheral with, I didn't really like them, and so I never like warmed up to them.
Right. Because
So-
let's talk about it, because they were racist.
Because, well, yes,
There was just no safety in socializing.
They
there,
were racist.
for me,
and so
realized.
I turned my brain off of any boy I met in person. I was like, they're all gonna be trash, and so I'm just gonna wait until college, and I can get out of here and go to like LA or New York, and they won't be racist anymore. And of
Right.
course, they're just a different type of racist. But,
Right.
But I did meet people that were attracted to me.
Yes.
Like,
And even to
In
that
real
regard,
life.
like One Direction being British, it was just kind of like, I don't know enough about that neighborhood to really
neighborhood.
I don't know about that.
All of the UK.
I
I don't know about that neighborhood, so I don't know the
but, like,
prerequisites.
I don't know about I don't know about that place enough to like be able to like find all of the social dynamics tangible. So like I'm like, you know what? If I don't see them say anything racist or microaggressive, then they must not be. And you know, I was able to live in that fantasy.
And this started to be the era where these pop boys would start to like say that they had celebrity crushes on black women. Like,
right,
Justin
like
Bieber was like,
Rihanna
"Oh, I
was
love
out.
Rihanna.
Beyonce
I
was
love
out.
Beyonce."
So people were like,
and they were like obsessed with them. And I know that that's like the bare minimum of
Right.
like, oh my god, being attracted to someone does not mean that you're not racist.
Right.
However, the boys and girls in our grades and our schools would never in their lives say they were attracted to somebody who wasn't white.
Right.
Like not even black and
Right.
nobody non-white at all.
There were even strange whispers about black boys when they did talk to them. There were strange comments made. I won't say them, but they were racist.
No. People's parents straight up did not want their children to date black people.
Yes.
And we have that on confirmation of
and
several different
they would
girls.
just snicker about it like it was something like,
funny.
yeah, like something like, oh my
something
god,
like-
the gall of this person to think.
And also like they would do it so that they could be like rebellious.
Right. Just not good.
Not good.
No,
not good.
we weren't.
So these were that is what it is. It's like it's like also like they were singing things that we didn't know, boys our age that were singing these things and like being all expressive with their emotions, and like we kind of knew them because they were just normal boys from wherever they were.
Yeah, and it was just like, you know what? They seem cool. They seem cute. They seem all right. And you know what? I don't even need to get that invested where they even could hurt me.
I was like, when I've seen
Which is
some
crazy.
I've seen some old videos of like women and girls at Elvis concerts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, people will show it, and it's always in a documentary or like some YouTube video as like, look at how unsettling this is. But I watch it and I'm like, girl, I can relate. Like,
Yeah.
like absolute, like, yeah, like he's on stage and you're gonna like melt. Like you're not there. Like,
Yeah, and it's also like,
you're not really
think about-
you're there and you're only there and you're so present and it's so intense that you're so present.
That's the only moment you have with this person that you literally are like, you love everything that they put out and release. Like, you're like, that's your only moment with them. So I do understand, like, when someone's handed the mic and they just start yelling hysterically what they want to say all at once, or crying, or trying to tell them how much they mean to a person, just because they're like, this is my fleeting chance. I understand the panic
Yes.
mode. I do.
Yes,
I do.
And if you forced me to get on a mic right now at like a convention and talk to Zac Efron, I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't be able to do it and I would be hysterical. But give me some years, give me some time to reflect.
Ooh, Lord.
and give me a heads up that he's going to be somewhere that I might be able to talk to him and
Yeah.
just I'll be okay.
Yes.
And I'll be fine, but you can't like
But like
in the moment
see, like, understanding what all the hype built up around the moments of seeing these clips of the fans that are screaming and people are like, how did they get there? It's like, well, they're feeling a lot.
And I
Simple
also
as
want to
that.
say, like, it's not just, I'm not like this about celebrities.
No.
Like, it is not like I get starstruck around people that are very famous.
No, it's just like, oh,
it's
that's
the
cool.
people that meant like this amount of people I've had this amount of fandom with. I'm like, like,
it's also like,
I can't.
what's interesting is like as I've grown away from this whole era, when people tell me that they've met them, I really want to know what happened, obviously. But I've kind of detached. Like I've detached from like being like so like tell me and how and where, because I'm like, okay, well that was your experience and it is not gonna be mine because it's just not. That was your experience. And a lot of the time when I was like reading all of these fan encounters, I was like, this could be me. But my time is coming and I know that.
That should be me.
I will meet one of them. I know I will have an encounter with one of them. I know I will say something that I will be proud of. I do know this. I feel it in my heart. Don't tell me I'm delusional. And
no, I think if done in the right manner, I don't know, y'all. Like being there, I
don't need to know. I just don't. It's just crazy because I don't need to know information about them right now. I really don't.
I'm really glad that
it was
we
a
didn't
time.
meet them. I'm
That's
really,
why
really glad that we didn't meet them.
Me too. But I'm kind of like, what was going on back then? I really just know that I was not obsessed over the person because I couldn't really see them as full people. You know, I was obsessed with the era and what was being given to me, and like, kind of even the content that the fans were creating around it, like the community of just like all of these people having one focus point. Like I think that's what it was. I'm not going to give credit to all of these boys. Like I've seen random comments that they make that I don't agree with because they're generic boys from the UK. Hello, I'm sorry, but look at them. They're just generic boys from the UK.
Which I think is the point of The Day I Didn't Meet One Direction is like, you see how intense it was and how intensely we were taking it and stuff. And it doesn't devalue our experience. It's just like at the end, you're like, this is unhealthy. We've taken it too far and we need to just be cautionary. It's a cautionary tale.
Yeah, you don't know them.
But also like...
So you don't know if you like them that much.
Like you don't know that you like them as people. And it's also like the same with like even just like person-to-person relationships. Like a friendship or like a relationship, like...
Or crushes.
Or it's like you don't know them. So just, just get to know them.
Yeah.
Don't fall in love with an image in your head.
See if you like them.
Like, because you can say, like, I like him and I'm, like, I'm obsessing over him, but it's like...
But if he says something that you don't like,
but you're not obsessing over him because you don't know him.
Right.
You're obsessing over your idea of him.
Yes.
And...
Yes.
Who hasn't?
Yes.
Who hasn't?
Right. And put that on top of all of the politics of...
I feel like I've learned a lot about myself through understanding how I fangirl.
No. That is 100% real because me sitting and assessing why I was so obsessed with these boys in hindsight when I'm not obsessed with them when I see them and like I do not have to like literally like drop to the floor and cry about everything that they do and I really don't know what they do. Like I see posts and I'm like, oh, why is this? What is this? And sometimes sometimes I look and I'm like, woo.
No, me, I do that with the 5 Second Summer fandom. Sometimes I'll like, for some reason, the tweets will come up because I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
yeah, I'm like
what's
remember the
going
time?
on? That was look at the time.
Yeah, it's like, okay. But like,
Best beyond.
Yeah, like, remember. But
this is not for me.
But it's just like, I don't... When I'm able to like reflect in hindsight, and in all of the life I've lived around it, I'm able to compare a lot of things,
coping mechanisms
of like what I've learned in real life, like experiences, and be like, you were just applying a lot of things to one focal point, which was One Direction. Like you were applying a lot of feelings just in emoting them towards One Direction and other fandoms. Of course, but the thing that was like pumping out the most content was One Direction for a long time because, and I'll go back to the rant that I think I was going on in the last episode, because the marketing team did really play into that. They knew that they knew it's like I'm so sorry, but it's like Is this crazy? It's like the war on drugs, where it's like they're pumping it into the community because they're like, the more they pump in, the more they're gonna get.
That's capitalism.
Just keep it up. Just keep it up going. Just keep it going, and they will take it, and they won't find a way out. It's kind of cultish, honestly.
No, literally, it is cultish. Like it's but it's kind of real because it's capitalism.
Yeah,
like,
and so
the way that the war on drugs worked was the same exact. Like
we compare One Direction to hard drugs in this podcast the whole time.
We did,
and honestly, I can see clearly, and that's why I'm
not saying that it did as much damage
as
real drugs.
No,
I'm saying
we're saying
that how the brain, it's how addiction, it's
like
addictive
it was
behavior.
Like I wasn't going to stop paying attention to them.
It was like,
after I said I was going to pay attention to them forevermore. And I didn't until they broke up. And I remember people were like, what if they do break up? After Zayn left, people were like, what if they break up? And I was like, well, no. Before Zayn broke up, they were like, what if they do break up? And I was like, I just need them to get me through high school, because at that point I had like become realistic about it. I was like, I see they're tired, so like if they don't want to do this, I can respect that, because I see other fans not respecting them. And so I was already catching on and growing up a little bit. But I just think that like, Amanda, I forgot what I was gonna say. I just think that
you were talking so
sorry. Say it. I don't know what I was gonna say.
I think that addictive behavior is required for like religions, and like certain fandoms act like culty and religious, and certain religions act culty as well. It's like cult-like behavior. Yeah, where you like,
it's like everybody subscribed to this one thought.
Yeah, and people coming up to you, when people coming up to you and being like, what are you going to do when they break up? I'm sorry, is kind of like me going up to a Christian and being like, so what if your God is dead?
Yeah, it's like,
what if Jesus isn't real?
Yeah.
What if you did all this for nothing?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it is. That's funny. But yeah, I would just be like, at this point I was just, that's what I was saying. I was like, I just need to get me through high school, because I had realized at that point I'm using this as a coping mechanism, and I'm kind of trapped, and so are they. So I really don't care. I just need to get me through high school so I can find a new identity.
Now let me ask you this.
What?
Genuinely, what would your brain do if they came back? Because I know what would happen when the Jonas Brothers came back. We've talked about it.
I feel like this is like a 60 minutes like tell all of like what like a real like a recovering One Direction person.
I mean, yeah, because it's actually happening. We're living history right now.
So if I'm being honest, y'all, let me get real with you guys. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know. Oh my Lord. Because it would depend on what they were doing. Stop. See, you can't be asking questions like this, because it would depend on what they were. It would depend on what they were doing. Because, okay, I'll give you some scenarios and then I'll break it down. If they were coming back, now hush up now. If they were coming back for an extensive amount of time, where they were like, One Direction's back, we're releasing an album.
Oh, why would you start off
and
like
pause.
that?
I don't know, because I thought that was going to be the lesser of the scenarios, but then I got really frozen. Okay, if they said One Direction, actually, because both of them are extremes. One Direction is coming back for 5 nights only, or doing one last tour or whatever. Okay, shut up. Okay.
Don't think about it too hard.
Okay, well, you can't ask me the question if
don't
you want
my
real opinion, because if they came back and they were like, we're gonna release a new album, I would be like, I'm sorry, but I think I would be paying attention to every single thing they released. I think I would. Okay, you know what the truth is? The truth is I would turn all of their notifications back on immediately. If I read something and it was confirmed that they were coming back with a new album, I would immediately turn all their notifications on. And actually, for the other scenario, it's the same answer, because if they said we're coming back for a 5-night tour or whatever, otherwise, I would turn on all their notifications immediately, and I would go on about my business, and I would keep it pushing, and maybe I wouldn't be as hysterical at it at work or talking to people day to day about it, but you best believe I'd be stressed. I would be stressed, and I would be a mess, and I think I would start having a morning and night daily routine. I think I would eat my veggies and my fruits. I would eat all of the protein I need, and I would be working out the amount that I need to be working out. I'd be the healthiest that I have ever been in my life to prep
to go to the concert.
To prep. I'm not sure what for. to just be prepared for all of the news that could ever be released about that. I would start taking I already take my vitamins, but I would start taking all my vitamins and just, I would be awake. I would be energized. I'd be ready to listen to what's going on. I think that I would be like, y'all have grabbed my attention. And now my attention is being grabbed. What's going on? You're okay. And I would be like ready to go to school. I'd be ready to go back to school. I would say I'm ready to come in with my notebooks and study why this choice has been made and is it real, and blink twice if you want out of the contract. Because if any of them do want out of a certain contract, I would go to law school. I would be able to get them out of the contract, and I would become all 5 of their best friends and confidants. And do you see what you've done?
I mean, literally, like,
I don't know what I would do.
Listen.
I don't know what I would do.
Oh my God.
I don't know what I would do if One Direction said that they were going to release a project of something. But I will tell you something right now, is that if they said that they were going to be at a concert and it was somewhere that I could get to.
What do you mean somewhere you could get to?
I don't know. Somewhere I could get to.
Like, not space.
Yes. I don't know. Not in the middle of the ocean. Because I would not do that.
What do you mean?
If they said we're having a concert, I would go. I would go, and if I stayed up all night trying to get as many rounds of tickets as they had, as many sales rounds of the tickets that they sell, the pre-sale, the pre-sale, the Live Nation sale, the City Card sale, all those pre-sales, and maybe days and days, they were releasing more days and days, I would end up at one of those shows. I would go to the ends of the earth to make sure I end up at one of those shows, because I am not missing it. And I am so sorry. I am not missing it. You're like actually fucking playing, because if they ever come back with a live show with all 5 of the members of One Direction, the British-Irish boy band that was formed in 2010, that single-handedly carried my ass through the waves of drama of high school, growing up in Memphis, Tennessee, as a black girl at a predominantly white all-girls school, single-handedly carried my ass through the waves. You best believe my ass will be getting a ticket to the show, and I will be in the actual the closest seat, the most perfect prime seat that I could get, and no one would be able to stop me from it. I'm telling you, there's not a single thing that would be able to stop me. I am pulling out all of the fucking shenanigans. I'm going That's So Raven type of disguises to get what I need. You are not stopping with me. Do not play in my face. If One Direction comes back, I've been trying to just politely say it this entire 2 episodes of this. If One Direction comes back, I'm going to do what I do. I will do what I end up doing. And you will have to deal with it. All of you will have to deal with it, and it's just not going to be stopped. It's not going to be stopped.
I feel like
it's not going to be stopped.
Listen to a sermon ever.
You will not stop me.
No, there's no like universe on the planet. There's no planet in the universe that would stop me from being at that fucking reunion, because this is what I was going to say earlier, is that when at their peak in 2013, when they had the One Way or Another music video, the Kiss You music video, the best of both worlds, I mean, the best song ever music video, I felt like I had never in my life been more attracted to some people, never had ever experienced this level of sexual desire towards these boys, and it was like making me hot all over. And I think about that fondly. I'm like, oh, and then because there was a peak, and then they stopped, looking as great because they stopped taking care of themselves,
because they were overworked and they're people. They're not like shiny pop teens.
Exactly, and they were like jaded a little bit. So I was like, okay,
they were being duped.
There was a peak of when I think they were the hottest. Now I'm like, they're adults. They're grown men.
I have my head screwed on a bit, so I'm able to like know what's up.
I'm an adult. They're adults.
I can respect the art for the art.
I'm sorry, but I think they're all so hot to me right now, hotter than they were after they fell off of their peak. And I'm like, if I go to a One Direction reunion, I had been picturing them at their hottest like when they were teenagers though, and now they're men, and we have never seen One Direction together as men. We've never seen it. NSYNC was like bippity boppity 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 around so many times. Like they went on tour without Justin Timberlake like 2 years ago or something. Like they've been bippity bopping around. They're like always talking about it. Like they're so happy. The ones that are not Justin Timberlake are so happy to get together and sing. That is not One Direction. We have not seen any of these boys on the screen on any place together. It's the 5 of them since 2015. Amber, if they have a reunion next year, it'll be 10 years since we saw them all together. Like all 5 of them together. It will be 10 years. And so
did you say next year?
Yes, because it's 10 years.
Okay.
And so what am I going to do? Because the people, I'm a well-respected individual in my community.
I'm just saying, and I'm gonna behave, and I'm gonna be very respectful of a lot of people. Like I'm not gonna disrespect anybody's time or space.
I won't disrespect anybody.
What's not gonna happen is stop me from being where I want to be. Is what I'm saying. It's like, and where I want to be is front row of that One Direction concert. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is what I'm gonna do. Respect.
This is what I'm gonna do.
So respectfully to everyone in the way.
In every, I remember the band.
But I wanted to say so first of all, what I wanted to say is, if all 5 of them come together on one stage, it does mean the same to me as now. Stay with me now, because we're crossing fandoms. The moment that everyone knew that Aang was back after they thought Azula killed him. That's what that would mean to me.
Well, Zayn's been talking about. You were saying that like you didn't think it was serious. You would always say I would say, what about a One Direction reunion? And you would say, I don't want it to be like. What would you say?
I said I don't think I used to say I don't think they're gonna come back unless it would be all 5 of them, and that's never gonna that's never gonna happen. But then it kind of started shifting to be like, if they do come back and it's just 4 of them, I'm not gonna really want it. It's gonna be sad, and I'm not gonna want it. And so it's probably and then Amanda said, if they come back, you responded, if they come back and it's just the 4 of them, then they're not gonna come back. And I was like,
yeah, they wouldn't. They wouldn't come back.
I'm like, so
Zayn.
I don't think they're. And see, I don't think Zayn's coming back, so I don't think they're coming back. But then Zayn came and popped out of the bushes this year, and I'm like,
and he's been talking about it.
I'm like,
he's been talking about One Direction a lot.
I'm like, what are you? I'm like, and what I'm getting is like the energy that I'm getting from him in these interviews are like, if you look up like compilations of Zayn Malik funny moments on YouTube from like 2010, all of the energy he's given is like that happy, like, oh, this like dose of like energy of like, I'm here because I want to be here. The same like high energy they were like when they first formed, because they were genuinely excited to see what was to come. And so I'm like, if Zayn's back on his full own accord, all these other boys have been trying to like keep their solo careers afloat. I mean, I know Harry's doing pretty well, so is Niall, and Louis has his team.
It's the first time he's been like that happy to talk about it.
If Zayn's back on his own accord and there, it's a possibility that all 5 would come back together. I think that would make a lot of individuals in this thing very happy, because yes, they were put together. Yes, they got tired of each other, because that's just what happens. Think about your high school friends. Think about whatever relationships you have, but if they come back together and heal, and they have this band and are just because they want to, kind of like the same way NSYNC. When NSYNC was coming back together, I was like, I really feel for these fans, these grown fans who knew them when they were. So I'm just like, if you bring me back One Direction, and I'm not talking about One Direction in 2015 or like even late 2014. I'm talking about if you bring me back One Direction, what it was from 2010 until like maybe the tail end of the Take Me Home era, that's the only way I will take it.
I mean, when the Jonas Brothers came back, it really changed my brain.
Because they came back on their own accord. They were coming back to be the Jonas Brothers that we found in 2007.
And I also never thought that they would. I didn't.
Neither did I.
Was
That
like,
was-
I thought they were just done with music.
That
And then
was
when they
full
came
out of
back,
left field.
I was like, it was like we heard they were coming back, and then the next day they had a single, and then the next day they had a music video. And I was like, this is too fast for my brain to like, if One Direction does that, if they don't announce that they're coming back and they just drop a music video, what?
Whoa.
Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. No, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Whoa. Okay. I'm gonna speak on the Jonas Brothers. Because with the Jonas Brothers, when they came back so fast, the thing is, when they left, I was like, they left because they were done with it. I treated the Jonas Brothers breaking up as, and them going on a talk show to announce it, I treated that as like, my favorite show's getting canceled. Like, it's a wrap, like, I don't watch Disney Channel anymore.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
I was like, well, it's fine. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like,
Right.
Like they're not. I wasn't thinking about them. And then I remember one of my college roommates when I lived in a house of 6 said the Jonas Brothers. Did you see that no? I had seen a probably like a little article about it, but scroll past it because I thought it was spam. I just wasn't thinking about it. I was like, whatever. But then my college roommate came in and was like, did you see that? She was just sharing pop culture news. She's like, did you see that the Jonas Brothers reactivated their Instagram account? Amber, what do you think of that? Because she knew that I was obsessed with Joe Jonas. And I was like, yeah, I did see that.
What?
And I was like, and it does seem real, so I don't know. I just really was just like, so I don't know. And
I
then
know,
they came,
same.
and then they came back, and I was like it was like something. It was like
Going ghost.
it was like and
The energy in the body.
because they were releasing remakes. What it was is that they were releasing remakes of the early Jonas Brothers videos that they were putting on YouTube. They released that remake of the Have the Tables Have Turned, and I was like, oh, you guys are being nostalgic and happy about that time period that you guys have been not talking about for so long. Oh, are we about to have a different type of energy? And are you guys about to give us some good music and we can all be fangirls about this really intense thing again? Is everybody about to... Oh, are we about to, like, go back to, like, being kids for a second right now?
Yeah, and I think that the 2019, literally that era, those Jonas Brothers got me through 2019. I will say 2019
because they were talking about family and hope.
2019 was rough, and I was like, it's my boys. And when we went to that fucking concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and they came to the second stage, and they were right in front of us, they were in their teenage
It was
years.
10 years.
I literally, it was 2009.
It was 10 years from when we had seen them the last time and the first time.
I blinked, and they were like,
oh my...
the younger versions in my eyes, and I was like, this is my childhood.
Like, it's childhood. And that's, like... these obsessions, these fandoms and these obsessions, yes, it's about the content, and yes, it's about the person to an extent, and these parasocial relationships are about the marketing and to extent, but it's also about the time in your life in which you started to be obsessed with them and what was going on around you that you found security, that you clinged on to it. Like, the Jonas Brothers, like, having them come back in 2019 released, like, this nostalgic, like, euphoria because we had been in a rough period of life. And having them come back and sing songs like Roller Coaster and then all of their classics that we grew up with, and then to bring Big Rob onto stage, and it's just like we are in our playroom watching Camp Rock and Jonas Brothers videos again, like just back in 2009. It's like magic. It's like all of the anxieties of the years in between are washed away for a second. I'm gonna start crying.
No, that's exactly how it is.
Oh my God.
That's exactly
It's
how
like
it is.
It's like, but I don't care about anything else because I am so happy to be hearing something of like childhood, like because you know that classic thing where it's like you never know the last day of your childhood, the last day you really feel like a child, and you don't, because honestly you never know what you're doing, and so you kind of always feel like a child. But when something like kind of triggers you to like when you were actually into like your developmental years that made you that happy, it's like, whoa, where was this feeling? I haven't felt this in a really long time, this specific feeling in a really long time.
Yeah.
And it's like this wave of emotions. I can't. Oh
my God.
I can't.
Everything that we're talking about just... That is what it is. That's what it is to be a fangirl. Like, literally, it's not just liking something. It's like letting your emotions out in the purest way possible, because this thing gives me comfort and I love it. Mm-hmm. And like I love it openly and I don't care who knows it.
It's like it's about being safe with what you like. Like you're like, oh, this is something I know that I like.
Like they saying,
and I don't need nothing. Like it's about feeling safe. Like finding something that you're like, nothing that anyone says will actually sway my opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
And having that strong like sense of like yourself by opinion wise at a young age where you're like, I don't know about this, or should I just lean into this? Do I really feel that? But you have this one thing that you're like, no, I say anything you want. I love this band. I love this TV show.
Yeah.
That's part of being, that's like part of finding yourself. You're like, well, I know this about myself.
No, it's literally like part of forming an identity.
Yeah.
Like as a child, like when you're building the building blocks of your personality, like being able to like something that not everyone likes.
Yeah.
You know, or like,
or caring just if you like it more,
or liking something just because everyone likes it.
Yeah.
Like it's not always, because you certainly were not liking One Direction just because everyone else liked it.
No, I actually when I actually started liking it, I had a really distant memory. I was like, oh, I remember they were talking about these girlfriends. I remember these names. I was like, that's what they were talking about. That's crazy, because I didn't give a fuck back then.
I think that it's just gonna be like, honestly, I think that the reunion will come at the perfect time, if I'm going to be honest.
I don't know what's gonna happen, but you've all been warned. I'm not gonna say it again. I want to say that it's very interesting because I am a fangirl through and through. I do hyperfixate on things, but I don't think there's anything that I would ever hyperfixate on anything the way I hyperfixated on One Direction, unless, I don't know, some certain thing happens when I'm aligned with like kind of normally becoming interested in something else. You know what I'm saying? Like this was a very unique situation.
This was a unique situation. It was also a unique time, and like, I don't know, like One Direction, like they were just in a time where they were not Disney washed. They couldn't get Nickelodeon washed. Like they were just themselves, and they could curse, and they could talk about sex, and they could be caught smoking weed, and like Disney Channel stars couldn't do that, and we were like so clean before that. And so, and it was England,
yeah.
So there wasn't any like any of the like American evangelical weirdness, because the Jonas Brothers had those purity rings, and like everybody really in America kind of was like more watered down personality wise. Like in High School Musical, I know it's Disney Channel, but still like they have a graduation party and they're all like dancing crazy and there's no alcohol, and it's just like, okay,
right.
Like
in One Direction's like actually talking about drinks because it's legal
and
there.
It's in their music videos.
Yeah. Okay. And I also want to say it's just very interesting because I know that they are the world's biggest boy band, but when I was discussing them with the people that I was like with, like through via Tumblr dashboard or like even in line, I wasn't really like thinking about how they were being perceived by everyone else in the world who had eyes on them because of how good their marketing was. And same with Harry Styles to this day. Like I'm like, I know that Harry's like problematic in media, but because I'm not paying attention to him that hard, I'm really shocked that other people know who he is. And that's because I've never associated like One Direction with like real other people in society, because I've never given any thought to what they had to say. Like if you like One Direction, we can get in a conversation about it, but like through high school I was just kind of like, they don't know anything, so I'm not gonna start a conversation or listen to them or stay in one if they try and start with me, because it doesn't matter. Like I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't know their personalities like I do, so you don't have the same information that I do, so I don't know what you're talking about. And I just really like in the moment was like, oh, I'm so glad that they're everywhere, or they have a lot of content that I can access, but I didn't connect it to being like, there's a lot of content that I can access because they're everywhere, and some people just see them as like someone who's just like everywhere, like like a radio being overplayed on, like a song being overplayed on the radio or something. So I just
that's just about.
I've never connected like to me, and I say this as a joke, but also with slight sincerity. To me, it was like my secret indie band and my secret community. And yeah, there are a lot of us around, but none of you actually know what we're talking about.
Well, that's kind of how it was. Like, because we went to an all-girls school, everyone knew who One Direction was. It was like Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's no reason to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that you know some songs and you might feel like it's being shoved down your throat, but I'm not shoving it down your throat.
Yeah, like
it's the media. I get it. I understand.
I'm like, because whatever the media is shoving down throats, that's not even that. That's
why I like that.
Yeah. That's not even the thing that I'm getting. That's not even the perspective that I'm getting. I'm going around back and watching the behind the scenes is what I'm getting.
To be a real fan of something, like, you have to see through the marketing of it. Like, the marketing of it is usually like they can hone what's going on, but if you've got that juice, you don't need to hone too much. Like, we would have bought anything. You would have bought anything that they released.
Exactly. It's kind of like...
You got pants.
Yes, because I wanted it, because I was like, I love these boys, and for all I'm concerned, this is going straight into their pocket, food in their mouth. I'm taking care of them because I love them that much.
What is this?
This is some perfume. They released 2 more perfumes. After I got this, I was like, these boys didn't have anything to do with this. No damn perfume.
It says body lotion, perfume, and shower gel they were selling.
Right, and they did that moment, and...
Did you ever use it?
This moment. Yeah, this is actually good. I actually did use it, but I didn't get any more because I was like, I can just get a scent for $20 from Bollyworks or something. This is like $70. And
70?
Yeah, I'm like, this doesn't mean anything to them. Like, this is not their heart and soul. But
that's just what you do. You're like, oh, like, isn't this weird? This like ad that they made them do. Like,
yeah, and it's like, okay, this is what I was gonna say. It's like when you're, it's kind of like, here's an example. Like, take Zendaya. You know how if you go back and you watch old interviews or even like old videos that she's posting on her YouTube channel, you can tell that she's doing a Disney Channel persona, and you're like, well, this clearly isn't how she is. We've seen how she is. It's like, I would watch the promos that they were putting on everywhere, or like the photos that were edited or airbrushed, or in like the commercials and whatever, and I'm like, these are those boys. And they're trying to act, and they're not actors because I know who they are, and they're goofs, and they clearly they're just like kids in your class, you know.
Who are you talking about?
Them. Like, I would
One Direction.
Yeah, like when I would see them like have a promo or like with 5 days to tell a music video, I'm like, this is clearly they were told to do this.
Yeah.
You know, because I know the difference because I've gotten content where they're just filming because they want to film, because that's kind of like what we were given in the social media era, the YouTube, the Twitter era, where it's like you see them directly from their phones.
I mean, you can see that. I feel like that's how every celebrity is now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's why the boundaries are very easily crossed. I think we're coming into a way where it's like, stop crossing their boundaries. Just because they're posting on Instagram doesn't mean you know what's going on.
I know.
Just like you don't know what anyone's doing, even if they're not a celebrity.
It makes me feel like the parasocialness has gotten worse since we were teenagers. Like, I think that if I was a teenager right now, I would like know way more than I ever did about anyone I was obsessed with in high school.
Yeah,
because of TikTok and
you're right.
Instagram.
Because the tail end of like being obsessed with 5 Seconds Summer as a teenager, the tail end of it, I left because people were talking too much about their private lives.
Yes,
and they're like,
that's exactly what I meant by like
and whatever. And so I was like, that's not
the tweets
I don't
that
need
I
to
see.
know this.
Yes, I'm
this
like,
is my
it's
escape.
It's happening right now. It's still, and it's like, I think it's worse than it was.
I think that's proof right there. I think it's proof right there that like, even from the beginning of what I was saying in part 1, even from the beginning, me saying that I was gonna date them or end up with them or marry them, that would be amazing. And of course, my wildest dream, like Cinderella, like dreams come true. But I have the sense to know that that's not gonna happen unless I'm put in a situation where it suddenly is realistic. And for people to be exposing their personal lives without their consent, and also mine. Like, I don't need to know this.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I don't, like, this is not what I'm here for. I'm here because what they say through their music and the interviews that they give us and they have chosen to give us, I like it and I can build my own fantasies off of it.
Yeah,
and so I will use it as escapism. I don't need to know actual facts about these people because everybody is like, nobody's perfect, and some facts about anybody you ever like are gonna be a little off-putting. Everybody got a red flag,
and that's the
and I don't need to know all of them
that,
if I'm just trying to have a good time and sing a song.
That's the boundary that people do not have. Like, and I think it's really, really hard for developing minds, to distinguish that when they're teenagers, and also to the point where like. Now it's like adults are crossing that boundary more too. Yeah. It's not just teenagers; it's adults too. Like
because I feel like Desperate Housewives.
Like what?
I don't know.
Like, you mean Real Housewives?
Yes, Real Housewives, like the reality show.
Yeah,
because I just feel like everybody has gossip. It goes on, so they're just like celebrity gossip is just your normal gossip that everybody does, but heightened because. Everybody knows who you're talking about. Yeah,
and it's like you can stage it too. Like they can use it for like clout and shit. And like it's not, most of it is not real. And even if it is, like you don't know what's going on. Like and to me, that's not what I'm enjoying about getting back into fandom. Like going back into fandom and getting back to my roots and like allowing myself to listen to One Direction and like High School Musical randomly, Hannah Montana on a walk, is because like those things brought me joy then and they mean a lot to me now, and being able to like dip back into the world of the art is like very, very exciting, and then seeing those people have like little interviews like where people are like, Zac Efron is talking about High School Musical more, like Miley Cyrus is talking about Hannah Montana, Raven's talking about That's a Raven, like we're getting to know what was going on when these things were happening. It's just like, well, that brings me a lot. Like Doctor Who's back, like I just like really like to get back into these worlds, and then that's it, and I stop it there, and I don't need to know about their private lives. Right. I don't want to know like really intimate gossip about these people.
No, and because. And it's like, I feel like it's almost more of a pure memory because it was at a time where we didn't have access to it, so we didn't see it. And I'm like, I don't want it. Like
I know, because I know the Jonas Brothers were acting up when they were at, like, right. I know they were not treating people right.
No, but what I needed was a good song at a sleepover. Mm-hmm. I was given that. Thank you.
I was 11.
Right. And so then I'm also thinking like, I forgot it again. My at the beginning. No, now currently. Oh, because now when I get into a TV show or like songs, I really don't like to hear the fandom feedback because I don't need to see a bunch of people hating on somebody because maybe they're overplayed or they think they're corny or whatever. And I don't need to see like tweets about things about their drama with who they've been seen with. Like I really don't. Like I like the song or I really like the TV show. So whenever I get into something and I'm like watching, I'm hyper fixated on something, I'll watch whatever, listen to whatever, read whatever, and then if I want to find out more about them to make sure that there aren't any like red flags where they're like any allegations or bad things about the person, I'll look at some interviews and watch them have like speak and see if there's any like red flags of their persona and be like, okay, yeah, they're fun, they're cool.
Yeah, and honestly,
funny.
like,
and leave it at that.
The worst it gets is like being really attracted to somebody, and
that's for non-celebrities too. I can't be.
And that's for everybody.
Hot, I'm like, get away from me.
That's an equal awkward opportunity. Okay, yes. Like I'm just like, oh, I'm sweating in your presence.
Yeah,
literally. Should we talk about Avatar? Because there was a time recently when we went to the Avatar: The Last Airbender 4-year consideration panel with the Netflix cast, and like we were right up next to the cast, and it just like I don't know what kind of the fangirl spirit came over us, but we'll tell that. Maybe we'll tell it at the Comic-Con episode. We have some audience questions. They're not questions really. They're just like topics, and they're like rapid fire.
What have we said? Okay, I just want to say.
The other day, Amber texted me a TikTok.
Oh, wait. Before we get into this, let's introduce. Hold on. I just want to say, everything that we've said in this, I feel like the girls that get it, they will get it, and if you don't get it, welcome.
This is educational.
It's educational. Don't be rude.
No.
We just welcome.
Literally,
this is a real thing. fandom and fangirling hysterically is a real thing.
The other day,
and we grow.
The other day, Amber texted me
and we know.
a picture of Harry's tattoos and said, "These pictures," or the caption says, "These pictures were taken on June 11th, 2013," which means that they're 11 years old today.
Oh my God.
And that was 8 days ago. And Amber said, "I remember when these were new," talking about the tattoos. And she said, "I remember not being able to handle this at all."
No, the photo. I was talking about the photo. I remember when that photo dropped on Twitter.
Oh. And then I thought you were talking about his tattoos. Oh, the photo.
I remember when
And then I said, "Lord."
Yeah.
And Amber said, "This is killing me."
Because it was like photos would drop, the paparazzi's photos drop, and I'd be like, they look good, and I have to save it. This is going in the content folder. This is research.
And then she sent me a TikTok.
Oh my God, what?
Of like Harry, Louis, and Niall, like an edit of them recently.
Oh my God, and someone calling them the big three.
The big three. And Amber said,
"This
is making me want to kill myself. Not sure what this reaction is." So this is where our headspace is. It's ramping up.
It's ramping up.
Sorry, but it's ramping up the closer a reunion possibly gets. But let's talk.
I'm heating up.
Let's see what people want us to talk about.
Okay, yes. Content.
Somebody says, "I am drunk and I have too many thoughts. My Roman Empire." And then mysteriously, she didn't say any of her thoughts.
I think that's my coworker. She texted me. She said, "I have way too many thoughts to say."
And someone else said, "I think my heart would explode if I watched a second of any of the X Factor video diaries." We've watched them recently. We watched them recently to study their mannerisms before we did the drag show, and 2, before we did the interview for the MTV documentary. We watched it recently for some reason that might be in the description.
When we decided to make One Direction a short film based on One Direction, I feel like that started to heal something for me because it gave me a reason to dive back into like that feeling of hysteria of like, ooh, I love this band. Like let's dive into and figure it out. And so, yeah, it started like that, but then it's also just kind of like, I really started to examine things and figure out things about myself. But
no, literally putting those clothes back on and getting back into that mindset after like literally 9 years.
It was like, who was I as a teenager and what was this effect? And like making this, it was like to be able to portray it correctly, I was like, I did it just because it was like, it was a second sense, it was me. So I was like, I remember this. The air is just right when we were filming it in Nashville. I was like, I remember when we were here and we were actually doing it. But like, I was like, and now with what I know, let's reflect on why that was such a heightened feeling. So yeah, so that's kind of like what this whole episode has been about. But I'm saying having a bunch of creative projects surrounding One Direction, this podcast, the comedy show that we had, and the short gave me a reason to watch those again after I had like been like, you don't need to watch those again. Like you're gonna just be kind of sad about it. It gave me a reason to watch those again and just be like, this is for research and you need to watch them. And then I watched them and I was like, this. I just remember being so happy.
Yeah.
I just remember being so like, this is the funniest content I've ever seen. Like Louis being loud. So I understand that. Because there was a period where going back and watching the video diaries from X Factor would have just been like, oh my God. The thing is about the One Direction fandom is that we were already feeling nostalgic for them as we were going. Like, I remember when they turned 3 in 2013 on their 3rd birthday, July 23rd, the band, like, when they were formed together, everybody was like, it's been 3 years, and compilations were being made, and we were like, look at how old they've gone. Because it is that kind of age, like 18 to 21, you're like, that's a big, you look different. And so to us who were younger, we were like, they're so old. They're so old now, and look at how much they've grown, because they did grow a lot in those 3 years. And so we were already nostalgic. So now to watch it with actual nostalgia, now to watch it with actual nostalgia is kind of sad if you're not in the right headspace.
I just
like,
realized,
remember when this was just a thought that this would be kind of sad?
No, yeah.
And now it is?
And now it is. And like, well, I feel like to you, I say, watch those X Factor diaries. You might find that
It's fun.
It's fun. We watched their entire X
You might
Factor
find
journey.
some joy there.
We just rewatched their entire X Factor journey. It was crazy, actually, like doing that. Like I was like, oh my God.
It was crazy to do that because I was like, now I'm seeing them as like kids.
Some
like,
of them.
I'm like, think about these as like kids that would be coming out in today's society as new pop stars.
Okay, wait. Somebody says rate their auditions. Okay, now this is what your coworker, she did actually. I lied. She came back and said rate their auditions. Well, I think Liam's is the best. But
yeah,
but he had already auditioned and gotten in, so he had a leg up. His voice was just the strongest.
Simon told him to come back. He was already like working with Simon. That was a plot. I think he was like, I'm not gonna say he was a bug, but he was a bug. I mean a plant. A plant. But he was kind of
A bug's life.
I think it's
I wish we had just watched them.
I know what it is. It's Liam, but I like quality is Liam, but I like Harry's better. It's Liam, Harry, Zayn. No, it's Zayn. It's actually Zayn, Liam. Wait, hold on. Let me think about it. You're the type of woman.
No, he's a little pitchy. Just a little flat.
You are. You should let. No.
So just a little bit. And now you say more.
But so is Liam.
What do you mean? So
he was a little off with that song. That's a big song.
But not as off.
Harry says, "Isn't she lovely?" I think Harry wins, actually. I'm going to say Harry first.
They cut him off.
Made of love. I think it's Harry.
Now sing Niles.
Gotta hang my answering machine now that I'm alone. Cause right now it says that we
didn't sing it with that accent.
Can't pick up the phone. And I know it makes no sense.
That's not the accent he did.
No, I know. I can't do it. Hold on. I can hear it in my head. Answering machine. Now that I'm alone.
No, I can't.
Hold on. Because right now it says that we can't pick up. Hold on. And I know it makes no sense. I can't do it like
it's
that.
Impossible to. It's impossible.
No way.
Niall's kind of impossible to
he
imitate.
Said, and I can hear it perfectly.
Me
but
too.
It will
Me
not
too.
come out of my voice. It was not coming out of my black woman voice. No, that's a small Irish white boy from Ireland. But then
every single time you go to imitate him, you go. And right now it says that we,
because that's what he was trying to do clearly, and it was coming out like an Irish. I'm giving the essence of what he was trying to do, and it was not correct. Hold on, wait. Then Louis says, "Oh, it's what you do to me. Oh, it's what you do to me. What you do to me, sweet Louis." Okay, so I think for me it's gonna be Harry, Zayn, Liam. Harry. For my liking. Harry, Zayn, Liam. Because they said for us to rate it. This isn't quality at this point. This is how I like it.
I think mine is Liam, Zayn, Harry.
Mine is Harry, Zayn, Liam, and then Niall, and then Louis.
Sorry, Louis.
No, Louis, no, he did bad.
But Louis the only Louis.
I think Louis got there because he was pretty.
He's beautiful.
And he has a tone to him.
Now this is why I'm a Louis girl, is because he is a very feminine looking man. He has beautiful eyes.
Louis.
I really love his feminine features.
He is handsome.
But he also has this type of his type of masculine. I just like his type of masculinity.
He has like a really good amount of like masculinity.
He's just beautiful, but also like so hot.
He's like scruffy because he doesn't take care of himself, but like you can tell that he is just the most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life.
And his eyes are so piercing, and I would call his voice piercing as well. Like piercing.
Okay, he has the voice, and I think that this is like a little bit why you're a Louis and Michael girl, because he has the voice that like actually sounds like a like silver butter knife scraping perfectly toasted butter. That's what I think about Louis and Michael's voices.
That is so special to me. Like I love their voices so much. They have unique voices. It's the fact that their voices are very like unique, and like you can't stop. I would kind of say Michael's Michael would be the butter and Louis would be the knife in that situation.
That's amazing. That's correct. That's so correct. That's so correct.
I love him. He is what got me into One Direction, and You know, I'm still here. I mean, I'm wearing.
He's what got me into One
You
Direction.
can see it. What?
He was my first favorite.
Oh my god.
He was literally I was like, I'm gonna keep watching this because Louis was being so loud and funny. He was commanding all of the video diaries because I was watching the Up All Night video diaries, not the X Factor ones first. Okay, that was a nice question.
Someone said hashtag let Niall sing, which we
already
discussed.
touched. Yes, let Niall sing.
And Louis.
Let Louis sing
Let Louis
too.
sing too. Let Louis and Niall sing. These were our boys at one point. It was me, Louis, Amber, Niall whenever she was going through the peak Niall.
Yeah.
And I was like, these are our boys. Let them sing.
No, it's not even peak Niall. When I felt that I had to claim a boy to get by in this society, so this society being the One Direction fandom, I was like, I'll say Niall. But my allegiance was to all.
Somebody said, imagine Niall Horn crawling in your ear. You tell him to stop, but he is in there.
The stupid imagines of today are funny because it's like that might as well have been what all of these delusional ass dreams of like being in love were. Like it's like, oh my god! So you just wanted to just be with them like that crazily. You didn't care how.
Okay. Oh god. Someone. These are crazy. I'll do the ones that are less controversial first.
Oh my god! Controversial ones.
Zayn's blonde strip of hair in the Kiss You music video specifically is so important to me.
Oh, bless you. Yes.
Bless you. The Kiss You music video altered my entire body.
Okay, the countdown. I'll say the countdown for that video was amazing because they had done countdowns to videos before. I had been there for videos before. But with the Kiss You video countdown, they had so many sets and different outfits that were coming out that the build up on Tumblr, I remember people were releasing GIF sets of like each 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 day of like. Oh. And so it was like, what is this video about to be? Because we were always so like,
exciting.
Because people were always like, you know what? It looks like they're like this video is going to be them in the studio. That's what because with little things with Live While We're Young. Oh, this video they got a set on and they would have the little town in wherever in the UK where they like were filming and they'd be like, so it's gonna be like a campfire vibe because they could see. But with this, it was so many different things and it was green screen. It was like we're gonna get a bunch of scenarios from this.
Okay, on to the controversial. I literally have too much to say. On all that.
Okay, because I'm not going to talk about anything controversial today. I'm so sorry. I'm talking about what it means to me.
Somebody said,
what?
Have y'all seen the airport footage?
Are they talking about when they were sitting at the gate in the airport?
When somebody hacked in.
Is that what they're talking about?
I guess.
Well, then yes. I mean.
There you have it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, actually. I only hear tell.
No, I saw it and I was like, how they do this? And then I was like, this seems illegal. Let's not do nothing illegal.
A few people want us to talk about Mr. X.
Mr. X was a very intense day. I don't know if I have enough energy to talk about Mr. X, but I'll go into it a little bit. Mr. X was something that I thought was ridiculous, but at the day of, it got the better of me and I was like, but what if they're right? Because what if they're right and we need all security on deck? Mr. X was terrifying. Mr. X was terrifying because we're supposed to be on one end celebrating that they're performing at Madison Square Garden. On the other hand, someone's going to trigger warning kill one of them.
So someone threatened to kill Harry?
Someone threatened to kill. I think it is to Harry, but like someone threatened to bring a gun and like I think someone please correct me if I'm wrong and do it nicely. But I think it was someone said if Harry and Louis don't tell the truth, they're gonna kill them or something.
What?
They had information that they
shipper?
could leak. We don't know what it was because everybody was kind of picturing it. I don't know. I was picturing it as like a scary old man, and people were like, "No, this note is real. It's not just a fan fucking around. And even if you think it is, take it with the small chance that it is real. Tell the security." And you know what? The security did up their security that night because that is fucking scary. And everybody was really scared because, you know, things like that have happened. And but I just remember I think there was a rumor, and I don't know if it's true, but there was a rumor that security did find someone plotting something. And that could be a rumor, but that was an intense time, and we don't know if that's real or not.
Were you there on the day?
I was there on Tumblr, tracking, December 3rd, 2012. I was there on Tumblr, tracking. I wasn't watching the live stream because I was scared it would give my computer a bug, but I was there tracking.
Damn, dude. Okay, this is leading into it because people have, since it is about the ships, do you want to talk about the ship or no?
What is it?
Larry.
What's the question?
Someone just said Larry, and a lot of people are saying Larry.
Okay, to what I'll say here is this. This is what I mean by boundaries, okay? Because I understand the identification of a queer relationship within a fandom that you identify with, and it makes you so happy and feel like you see yourself like they are accepting of like who you are in your community and and maybe there is some truth to it. But this is what I'm talking about, boundaries, because that's where you're turning the parasocial relationship into something that is threatening to them and their security. And if you love them as much as you are saying you are by dedicating your time to them as much as you are, by even contemplating that they're about their private relationships, then you need to respect that you can't just be openly talking about it. Imagine this. Imagine you go sit at a dinner table and someone who claims to love you so much and would never harm you and is so obsessed with you they know everything about you, then shouldn't they know? Shouldn't they know that you don't want to talk about a relationship that you haven't consented to or talked about openly on your own accord? If you love them so much as a Larry shipper, because you know them so well, and you care about them and their mental health so much because you love them so much, you're their biggest fan, then respect that the discourse around it, whether it's positive or not, brings them stress. And you don't know why it brings them stress, but you don't need to, because it could bring them stress from the pressure that their teams are giving on them. It could be losing them jobs. It could be losing them security in their own livelihood. It could be losing them friends. So just respect that they've said they don't want to talk about it, and don't talk about it. Like, talk about it to your friends. Go on your secret dashboards and do it. But like, I don't think it should be something that we are trying to make go viral or try to get them to talk about it or ask questions to their face, because we know that it makes them uncomfortable. And at this point, we don't crowd them we don't crowd them in airports because we found out, oh, they have anxiety disorders, and we all have anxiety disorders, and so we don't want to give them an anxiety attack because we love them so much. Okay, well, so is talking about Larry. So is talking about Larry so much, and so is talking about it to their face, and only having that in their threads. They get on Twitter, and this is me back in 2012 now talking, because I don't know how much of a discourse it is in their face, but it doesn't need to be the thing that you're saying directly to them and having and expecting anything to come from them about. I think it needs to be
it's a boundary that needs to remain up.
If you're gonna be parasocial about it, continue to be as parasocial as possible and respect them as you would respect your best friend. And if you know that your best friend doesn't want to talk about something in front of every fucking body in the fucking world, don't talk about it.
Yeah, which is also why I feel like I don't want to talk about our opinions on Larry specifically, because
it doesn't matter. I'm not adding to it.
It doesn't matter, and I don't want to. I don't want to add to it. I don't want to add to the public discourse about somebody else's private life.
Right. I have my opinions. I have my opinions
too,
and I definitely see a lot of what people want to hypothesize and theorize. Like, I see all the conspiracies, and I have my opinions whether they're agreeing or disagreeing. But what I'm not going to do is encourage that conversation to continue going on, because they've said several times over that they don't want to talk about it. And I blame all of you for taking away the so-called Larry content that you got to use for your theories. Because as soon as you got too in their face about it, they stopped even being friends in front of us. They stopped standing side by side in front of us. It's fucking your fault. I'll be as contradictory. I blame Larry shippers, not all of them who aren't in their face, but I blame Larry shippers who were in their DMs talking about it, holding up posters at their concert, trying to get videos out of them. I blame all of you for ruining whatever relationship they had, friendship, brotherhood, whatever. You ruined it. You put pressure on them when they were just 18 and 19, trying to figure shit out for themselves. And that pisses me off. Honestly, you ruined content for me. That's how I take it personally. I like seeing them have shenanigans around. Harry and Louis were cute as hell, being friends or otherwise. And you fucking ruined it because now they can't stand next to each other in a photo on stage. They feel awkward. Fuck off. Stop talking about it. And that's me talking about Larry.
Moving on. Okay. Okay, now this is controversial. We might not be able to.
What is it?
Someone says controversial, but I feel like Liam would ruin a reunion. IDK, what he do but something.
I hate thinking about negative hypotheticals, and I see where the person is who's saying that is coming from. if he did, I don't think he would, because I really don't think he would. I think that One Direction is, I would like to think in positive hypotheticals, and I think that if One Direction ever came back and they had a reunion, I think that they would become a version of their better selves, where whatever strives they've gone through during One Direction or after, within between whatever the time the reunion comes back. But if he did, I would never forgive him, and I would be really mad.
What do you mean? Like, what are you thinking about? Like him do what he did? What?
Well, there's one thing that I would never know about, and so I'm kind of fine with it. But if he's like the one person who's asking for something that outrageous, or else he won't come back. If I ever find that leaked and I was like, oh, Liam's the reason they didn't come back because he wanted something crazy, I'd be pissed. But
that's what you mean. I thought okay.
But if
I think this person
means
that they don't want Liam in the reunion.
No, and I see, and if you think that, I'm so sorry to say, but you did not like the full energy and the essence that the boy band was giving in its original time. If you think that the reunion would be ruined by one of them coming by someone who was there originally on July 23rd, 2010, if you think it would actually be ruined by their presence being there when they are not doing anything and it's the same like feeling of One Direction, I don't think you were really a fan of the essence. And that's controversial, and I will be controversial because I really ride or die. Like I stand with the fact that, yeah, you can be a favorite, you can have a favorite, but if you have a favorite and then you have someone that you hate in the band, this person is someone that they're like someone that you love, actually likes and cares about. Don't be disrespectful. It's the same thing about everybody calling Kevin Jonas ugly. You know that if you love Nick Jonas, you can't be at the dinner table at a family dinner calling his brother ugly. You know that's disrespectful, right?
You're right.
Like, you're being fucking rude.
You're right.
So if you think that Liam would ruin it just from being there and he hasn't done anything, then that's you not even understanding what One Direction was to begin with, or actually not even liking it as a full thing. Maybe you liked One Direction except Liam, and say that with your chest, but you didn't like One Direction.
Oh my God. It's okay if you don't like Liam.
It's fine if you don't like Liam. I don't like Liam that much now
okay.
Anyway. But I'm just saying,
It's yes.
You got me riled up. Listen, this is the real me. It's 2013. I'm 15 right now, talking about how I feel about my boys. Fuck off.
Holy shit.
Oh my God. I told you that I was scared for this episode. I was like, I just don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to go off is what's going to happen.
I literally...
Is that all?
Yes, that is literally all. I really think that we covered everything, even though
Me too. I feel good about
barely
that.
talked about our opinions on the boys directly.
What I'm saying is, I don't think that you need to know my opinions on the boys directly. They wish and wash because they're boys. They're white guys from the UK. What the fuck do you expect me to think about them? I think that they are conventionally attractive, but they probably have some pretty fucked up views sometimes, but hopefully some of the better side of ones, some of them on the better scale.
We're gonna have to be honest, like I don't know if we would get along in real life.
Yeah, I don't know that.
I don't know. I was like, I wanted to marry one of them when I was in high school, and like I'm like, we didn't even have the same values.
Right, we didn't know these boys.
Know.
The things that we were inventing were like the perfect scenario. We were inventing things in our head about absolute perfect scenario. That's not gonna happen in real life. Okay, we don't know them.
We know that. We know that's not going to happen in real life. We're adults. Come on.
Everybody's got an even playing field. They could really
It was just like
they could catch the wrong side of me too.
Juneteenth 2013, the day I didn't meet One Direction, the day we went to the Take Me Home concert. That was just like peak euphoria. I mean, I can't even describe it in any other way. It's peak
was
euphoria.
Bliss. It was like you had a mission.
And I really do think that we captured it in The Day I Didn't Meet One Direction.
Me too.
Our short film, which is on YouTube, which you can watch if you go to any of our link trees. It's called The Day I Didn't Meet One Direction. We're in it playing ourselves on the day that we went to the Take Me Home tour. And literally...
And stick around for the end, because there's some end credit interviews where you see us in, today... with it in hindsight being like, yeah, it was unhinged. And we know that.
And we know.
And we know that. We stand in that.
We stand in that truth. Do you have anything else you want to say?
I don't know.
I feel
just take me for what I am. I'm so sorry if I offended anybody with my harsh answers to like the Larry or the thing, but that's what I think.
Yeah.
And if you have an opinion against it, leave it respectfully in the comments, but also, think about it and think about it and think about it.
These people are real people.
These people are real people, and you don't deserve. You don't get to just have disrespectful conversations around them if you're claiming that you care about them. If don't add to the discourse that stresses them out.
And that is that.
And that's that.
So, if you made it to the end of these 2 insane episodes,
Congratulations and thank you.
Congratulations. Leave us a review. Talk about it in the comments. What are your One Direction thoughts? Any of them. What's your story? Did you ever meet them? Did you ever meet 5 Seconds of Summer? Should we do a 5 Seconds of Summer episode?
We're gonna do a 5 Seconds of Summer.
We gotta do the 5 Seconds of Summer episode.
Yeah, leave us stories of like
if you
your
like 5 Seconds
hysteria, your encounters, your almost encounters, your opinions. Leave us it all because we do love the conversation.
Let's get the conversation going. And if we were to do anything,
do you think they're coming back?
One Direction based soon at live, would that be something that y'all were interested in?
Because we're gonna do that.
Also follow us on everything at fangirl.central, mostly Instagram and TikTok.
This has been the actual, I know that we've said this a couple times, but this has actually been the most unhinged you've ever seen me on this podcast.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, there's a lot of things that we just exercised.
We talked about a lot of deep shit here.
We really did, and I will be. I will be saving this
central to your identity
to be educational. I think this is educational. But yeah, we are doing Comic-Con next. If you're going to Comic-Con, tell us. Tell us if you're going to Comic-Con.
Tell us about it.
Do y'all want to do a meetup there? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe let's all meet in San Diego.
Meet me in San Diego.
Meet me at Petco Park.
Meet me in San Diego-y.
What are you doing?
Like, meet me in St. Louis.
Oh, I was like, who is that?
Meet me in San Diego-y. So yeah, I'm Amanda.
I'm Amber.
As always,
keep it chaotic.
Hi, we're One Direction, and this is our video diary.
You can come back here every week to find out what we've been up to, how we're feeling, and everything that's going on.